Back, everyone. According to a poll by IPX 1031, 56% of Americans don't know when this year's tax deadline is. Well, surprise, it's today. Well, joining me now to help last-minute filers get through this season is Lisa Greene-Lewis, TurboTax CPA. Thank you for joining me. So
Thank you
typically,
for having me.
of course, so typically, what share of Americans don't file their taxes by the deadline, and why?
Typically, there's several reasons. You have your usual procrastinators every year that just wait whether they're getting a tax refund or not. And then this year, as you said, a lot of people were unclear about when the actual tax deadline is. And as you said, it is tonight by 11:59. So I think there were just some people that weren't sure about the deadline.
And especially since it did fall around this holiday weekend. So then for people who did not file today or don't think they can file today, what should their next steps be?
Yes, next steps, by 11:59 tonight, you want to file Form 4868 to file for an extension. And then, even if you're waiting to find out one answer to something, you can still file as soon as possible tomorrow, but you want to file that extension so that you avoid a failure to file penalty. And then if you owe money, you need to pay 90% of what you owe by tonight's deadline.
So then what do people need to know about the difference between the extension to pay versus the extension to file?
So the extension to file, that's one thing to point out. It is not an extension to pay. It's an extension to file until October 17th this year. And then you don't get an extension to pay. So you have to pay 90% of what you owe. If you can't pay that, the IRS has other options. You can get an installment agreement that allows you to pay what you owe over 6 years.
So if you're right up against the deadline, what is the best way? What are some of the steps you can take to try and avoid getting audited?
The best thing you could do, first thing to point out, less than 1% of people are audited. So, don't worry about that, but you do need to just gather all your documents in one place. You want to have a complete return before you file. So you want to include those forms that report your income, like your 1099 forms, W-2s, and then also, don't forget about receipts for expenses that can be worth valuable deductions. And then especially this year, millions of people receive the advanced child tax credit. You want to make sure you have a new letter from the IRS. It's letter 6419. You need to report the correct amount of advance payments that you receive so you don't have any delays with your return or any adjustments in your refund. And then same with stimulus. There was a third stimulus and the IRS issued letter 6475. You want to have that in front of you and report the correct amount of third stimulus that you received.
And obviously, the past year, because of the pandemic, a lot of moving parts there. So if you changed jobs or became unemployed over the past year, what should be on your checklist there?
Yes, if you changed jobs or had unemployment, one thing to remember, in tax year 2020, there was a break and your first 10,200 of unemployment income was not taxable. That did not carry forward into tax year 2021. So, I would just remember that, but also think about all the new credits that came about under the American Rescue Plan. There was expanded child tax credit, expanded child and dependent care credit, and also the earned income tax credit was expanded. And if you experience unemployment or changes in your income, you may be eligible for the earned income tax credit where you weren't before. And that's a huge credit. It's worth $6,728 for a family with 3 kids.
And obviously, a lot of people wondering the big question: when can they expect their refunds? Depending on how they filed, especially given the IRS backlog, which does seem to be easing somewhat based on the data on their website.
Yeah. So If you e-file with direct deposit, that's the fastest way to get your tax refund. And the IRS states that they will issue 9 out of 10 tax refunds within 21 days or less if you e-file with direct deposit.
Now, I do want to throw it forward here because starting this year, platforms including eBay, Etsy, Airbnb, Venmo, and Uber have to send a 1099-K form to the IRS to report an individual's total revenue if they earned more than $600. Now, this is a much lower bar previously than the 20,200 transactions requirement that was previously needed. How can people start preparing for next year's changes now?
Yes, I would definitely start, tracking the income that you're earning on those third-party providers, but also don't forget that the expenses that you're paying on those third-party providers. But yeah, you want to start tracking because, as you said, the reporting requirements for those payers has dropped from the 200 transactions and $20,000 down to $600.
All right, lots of things to be aware of, but remember, 11:59, everyone, so try and get those in if you can. A big thank you there to Lisa Greene-Lewis, TurboTax CPA. Thanks so much.